Welcome to the Mentor Project podcast, a place where you will learn, discover new ideas, be entertained, inspired, and even mentored. Our shows explore a wide range of subjects, including science, technology, business, society and culture, art and entertainment, and life. If you would like to learn more about the Mentor Project, please go to www.mentorproject.org. We hope you'll enjoy the show.
Hello, everybody.
Hey, good to see you.
Hi, Deborah. How are you? I just came back from an intergalactic trip.
I was on that trip with you.
Oh, yeah. It was a big spaceship. Susan, you were there too.
Yes. Hi.
Yeah, you're already here. You may as well participate.
I'm here.
It's family, right? How many podcasts have we done already together, me and you? So.
Well, as I was listening to the intro, I was like, "Oh, I know this intro." I wrote this intro.
It's getting easier and easier to have this little live conversation, and we'll get back to you, Susan, in a couple of minutes. We're going to follow the standard. And Deborah, why don't we start with a few news? Then maybe we'll touch again on why we made a joke about the intergalactic trip. And then we'll bring Susan on and she'll tell us what she's up to.
Sure. So we are in December and it's the final few weeks of the year. And we are in our push to fund some of our projects that we want to get off for next year. We want to add additional funding to our Tanzania project, where we send a mentor and a mentee to Tanzania to teach kids art. But I believe that Sam will be able to post our donation link. So if this is something that's of interest to you, lots of our programs get funded because of the support of generous individuals. So I do hope that you will take a moment and check out the website and make a donation if you're looking for a last minute end of year donation. Also, if you know of a mentee, or if you are someone who would like to be a mentee and you have interest in anything from AI to research to innovation to podcasting, please submit an onboarding form. The form is being posted right in the chat, so you're able to find that. If you are a teacher in a school, we'd love to come to your classrooms. Whether it's elementary through university, we have done it all and we love it. So please check those out. And that's it for this week, Marco.
Well, that was quick. So almost as fast as the speed of light. So why were we making a joke about that is because, as you know, we come immediately after the weekly meeting with all the mentors. Not all of them, because that will be more than 100 people meeting, a little hard to handle. But here, on that meeting, there's a few people that come, a few people are there more often than others, and some new faces as well. And we talk about stuff. And today we talk about life, alien life on other planets, communication. And we don't do it with, we have astrophysics and astronauts and then, me. So I just listen. But it's fascinating. And I think, Deborah, this is letter on mentoring. And I think Susan wants to touch on that today. So I'm excited to have Susan back, not just as a co-host, but a guest today. So welcome, Susan.
Thank you. It's just great to be back here. It's really fun as a guest. But rather than talk about me today, we'll do that maybe in the new year. I'll come on as a guest to talk about some exciting things that I'll be launching in the new year. But today I was thinking about talking about mentoring and lateral mentoring, as Debbie so eloquently kind of named it that. And as you both know, and some of the audience knows, I'm in the world of psychological, emotional, mental health. And I always think about activities from that angle. And I've been doing a lot of thinking about lateral mentoring and the implications. And it's really interesting because one of the things in today's talk in our mentor meeting, this really happened, right? How many of us sat there and said, oh, I have no idea what you're talking about. Debbie was making jokes and Marco was making jokes about this. Like, this is like the Charlie Brown, wah, 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 wah teacher. And, one of the things that I think is great with lateral mentoring is it gives people permission to say, I don't know. And we know that in businesses and in life, from people who are children to adults, we're uncomfortable saying, I don't know. There's a lot of pressure in our society that we're supposed to be the expert in everything and know, and it's not really safe to say, I don't know. So what I happen to love, one of the things about lateral mentoring is you have to say, I don't know something. It provides that automatic psychological safety to say, I don't know. And I love it. What do you guys think about that? It's been on my mind.
I don't know.
I love it, Marco. Perfection.
I think that exactly what you said, we need this. Everybody needs to be able to be vulnerable, to be able to say, I don't know the answer, and know that people aren't going to be like, oh, well, aren't you a loser? Or, oh, I'm going to judge you in some way. It's a safe area. And lateral mentoring is the biggest way that we can do that. And Fred was on the meeting today, and he was on the call last week. But he said, I said, why don't we do more of this? And bringing on experts in a panel. And he said, but that's not mentoring. And I said, yes, it's the mentors mentoring the mentors. Yes. And that's exactly what lateral mentoring is. So that's what I think, Susan.
And maybe even just say, I don't know. But when you say, I don't know, many people's like, I don't know, and I don't care. No, I don't know, but I would love to know. Right. It's not going to become my specialty. I'm maybe an expert in something else, but I would like to get a list and a hint of it and have a conversation about it. So today, a lot of things went over my head, but I grasp a few things here and there, and I think maybe we're better people because of that.
Not only better people, but, we know that sometimes solutions to problems come from people on the outside of the profession. Yeah. So it really does enrich everyone. So listening to this conversation today and getting information on all different topics from the mentors and being lateral mentored, it may be directly to my work, or it could be I can contribute to other people's work. You never know. So it's also just very stimulating. So lateral mentoring is just so important. Yeah,
I agree. It's a way that, like you said, Susan, not only can we be vulnerable, and like you said, Marco, when you say I don't know, as we saw in the conversation today, people then jump in with, right. Oh, well, here's what that means. And isn't it nice to be able to get an answer to something that you might have been wondering about, but you may not have had the right person to say, I don't know to, or anything like that. It's such an, I think, invigorating and exciting experience to be lateral mentored.
And I think, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, Susan, I have a question for you very quickly is, how would you reflect this into being a mentor and teaching to the mentee that this is okay? Like, I think this is a great lesson, not just for us as a lateral, but as a kind of vertical too, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Because it's changing culture. And again, the kids feel that pressure from the adults. It's modeling, right? They're picking up the cues from our society that it's not okay. If kids are observing, when I say kids, I mean any the younger students, could be college, could be high school, could be younger, but they're picking up, we're modeling for them. And so when the culture is, they don't see adults saying, I don't know, but they're seeing people not feel comfortable to saying what, but as the kids are seeing the adults getting mentored, that's going to allow them to say, oh, tell me more. So I think that it's so important for the mentoring for them and for mentors to share with mentees, Yeah, I still get mentored on some things too, because again, in our culture, it's like, oh, if you reach become an adult, you're going to know everything. No, not at all. And you still need mentoring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're never done being mentored. You're right, Susan. That was a good point to make.
Yeah, and I agree when you touch on the culture. There is too much pressure on people. Like one thing that I'm going to throw this at you guys. One thing we talk a lot in cybersecurity is this imposter syndrome, and it comes in technology too, and it creates mental mental health issues because you stress, you burn, and and again, it's because if you say I don't know, you think you're going to be fired, you think you're going to lose your job. So maybe being interesting to touch on this and from both of you. I mean, you're both experts on
Well,
this. And
there are some professions, and we have mentors that have actually talked about this. Bruce Wiley, who is in the medical field, he's talked about this. We have Charlie, who's talked about this, Camacho, the astronaut, and different companies where the culture is you're actually not allowed to say, I don't know. Doctors in medical school are told never say when you're doing rounds, I don't know something, right? So it's really, you need to be able to do that. And I think that, I was also thinking, it's a little bit an answer to your question, but Debbie, as you bring more and more this theme of lateral mentoring to the different companies, it's changing the company's culture, right? Giving them permission to say in that company, in those industries, it's provide mentoring, lateral mentoring, so that people feel comfortable to say, I need more information.
I think, yes, thank you for bringing that up, because there are corporations, and like Bruce said, in healthcare and in other organizations like judges, they really can't. How would you feel if you were seeing a doctor and you're right before surgery and they're like, I'm not quite sure. You're not going to feel so good, right?
That's not the time, right? That's not the time I want them to say, I don't know what.
You're going up with a big case and the judge is like, not sure. So there are some industries where it's really discouraged from saying, I don't know. And that may not be such a bad idea in all cases, but it does not mean that they should not be able to ask that in an appropriate way, which is where lateral mentoring comes in. And an example of how that can be incorporated into a work situation is, for example, Bob Hutchison talked about how in Iowa, the federal judges, you can't, say, hey, I don't know how to do something. Nobody's going to trust in any of your judgments. But they made some mentoring lunches. And then somebody can look to the person to their left or right and say, hey, I remember you had a case like this. How did that go for you? And you can ask in a different way. That's lateral mentoring. That's being able to ask your question, but it's not coming up to the, stand and saying, not quite sure. It gives you an opportunity that's more organic and natural.
Well, it's time and place, right?
Yeah, all the time.
And that goes in every profession. Even if you're a mechanic or you fix tires, I come to you because you're the expert. I don't want to hear I don't know. But if there is a new tire that come up, it's okay to talk on the lateral side and say, hey, how do we figure this out? How do you install this? I don't know. I went to the tires because I had an experience this week with tires, and I think that's why come out of my mind. But these are all important thing, and we I think we are a little bit more open as a society nowadays to compare with maybe what it was 10, 20 years ago. I don't know how you feel about this, but I see it. No?
I don't know. I think I think a little bit, but I also think that, and this is going off into a different direction, is that, people listen to people because they're expert in one field, then they think they can talk about all the other fields. And we have a lot of that going on in our society where people, let's say, are listening to their favorite whatever musician or blank and taking the information on another topic when they're not the expert on that. And so that's a whole nother thing. But yeah, I think your point is great in terms of, yes, the timing is so important, and the language and the culture of like that it's okay to say, I want to know more information. And change the way we say it. But I don't know. I feel very reassured if I'm going to someone and they go, you know what, I'm going to get more information about that. That to me is very reassuring. If somebody seems like they are 100% knowing everything a little bit too much, it's a little bit like, okay.
It's a bad sign. I know everything is not a good thing.
Right. It's a balance. Yeah. Great.
Well, what I do know is that we hit the 15 minutes already, so we have a hard stop at this. It's our mission to do it that way. I think we pack always a good amount of information in 15 minutes. This is good. Susan, thank you so much for stopping by. And remember, next time I don't want you as a guest. I want you as a host. You can always take our place. We rotate and we have fun. You are an amazing host. I learn from you all the time.
Oh, thank you,
Deborah. Just say the goodbye and whatever you need to say, and we'll kill it.
All right. Well, thanks everybody, and I look forward to seeing some new mentees join on board. And I'm wishing everybody a very happy holiday season.
That's starting. So yes. Thank you, everybody. If you have any comments, just put it in wherever you're watching this, and we'll get back to you. We're happy to jump on and participate. It's a two-way communication here. Thank you.
Bye. See you next time at 1.
Thank you for listening. This show was brought to you by The Mentor Project. If you enjoyed this segment, there are many ways to thank us. Please consider subscribing to our podcast, making a tax-deductible donation, or becoming directly involved. Subscribe to this podcast and visit us at www.mentorproject.org to learn more.